on the court's regular calendar asking to correct the 115 order.
Yeah.
John argued Judge Nord must have made a mistake in the order signed on 115 and and said surely the court meant the opposite than what was written, i.e. that visitation was only to occur in Texas. The hearing on the RFO was set for 3/17/25. On 1/21/25, John filed another ex parte FRO to shorten the time or advance the hearing. On the 1/16/25 RFO that was sent for 3/17/25, this ex parte RFO was also denied for insufficient showing for immediate harm as defined by leaving the 3/17/25 hearing as is. Thus, between 1/25 and 3/17/25 hearing date, the order available online stated Bree's visitations were to be in California with W. After Ms. Budnick told Bree after the 115 hearing that they are filing an ex parte RFO to correct the orders, Bree heard nothing further from her until she reached out herself on 3/6/25 to ask what was happening.
Yeah, I mean, this is a problem, but really,
she waited 2 months.
No, I don't. Well,
like, no, I'm saying, I wonder why Bree waited 2 months. When it got close to the time for scheduled visit, I wonder why she didn't reach out. I'm not saying that's why that's good that she didn't get it. I'm just curious on too. Why she didn't.
I think she just didn't know what to do. And this is procedurally complicated. Right here is where it gets like a procedural disaster zone. And it was wrong. Well, honestly, I mean, I hate me or love what the court did was wrong. Her visits should have been occurring in California with the restriction that there is no leaving. However, a court cannot the court cannot now say, oh, we made a mistake, so we're going to make visits be back here, because now just too much has happened. Like, in other words, you can't, just because the court was wrong doesn't mean that you can now put the child in an uncomfortable situation for, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's been the way visits have been occurring now for this long. Anyway, the court essentially can't right the wrong that they did to Bree. It doesn't really matter at this point, Yeah. So, but it was wrong. So.
Hey guys, we may not agree or we may not like it, but she knows the law better than any of us. She's a practicing attorney out there in California doing family law, so she knows what it is that she's talking about. Again, we all may see on another side and be like, oh my gosh, you couldn't fly because it was yours, or whatever the case may be. But again, regardless if we like it or not, the law is the law. And it has to be filed with however it is stated in the court. The court document stated that it had to be in California. Even if on the behind the scenes they had agreed to something else, it does say that in California that her visitations were to happen in California. So, okay. Okay, number 24. At the 3/17/25 hearing, that was the one that you guys were talking about earlier, that were in, when she was in Miami, she said she didn't go because she was in Miami. Okay, this is this court date. My client did not appear or file any pleadings beforehand. As noted in the 3/17 minute order, opposition not having been filed. The court granted the request and ordered for all Brianna's visits with W to occur in Texas. The parties were also ordered not to disparage each other on social media. There is no POS on file of service of this order on my client. The 3/17 FOAH was filed alongside the 3/24 kidnapping RFO and was later unconformed on 4/3/25 attached Exhibit M. I cannot say for sure without receipt of subpoenaed evidence from beyond 3/24 encounter with police, but I assume there was mass confusion on behalf of the police and my client due to there being no enforceable order in place about visits occurring in Texas.
Yeah. So do you remember when I said, I think that you and I got in a live together and I said the minute order isn't enforceable,
Right.
and 2K's attorney was responsible for drafting an enforceable order, and she didn't. She just didn't until it was too late. And so then in a flurry, she submitted um, an order and then appear anyway. So
I
yeah.
wonder why did the judge, if she wasn't served, right? And she didn't know, even though we heard her read the file. And again, you guys, that's where it's different, right? Yes, we all know that she knew the order, that she had the order, but she still was not formally served, right? But why would the judge then sign the order for the pickup and for any officer to be able to
Well, they didn't. That's why it took so long. I mean, do you remember how upset 2K was getting? I mean, he was. I mean, it took a long time. It took. Didn't it take like 2 days? It took like 2 days for them to do that. Usually, if you have an enforceable order, then you appear in court and you get a writ of assistance or an order of assistance, or you get the order saying, "Hey, this is what's going on." But his attorney had to appear twice, so his attorney had to appear, get the judgment signed, and then that says visits are only to be in Texas, and then get another order, an abduction order. So that's where the abduction order came in, and then the police were able to pick him up.
I felt like it was quick though. I felt like she only had him like 36 hours. And
That's a long time in a situation like that, though.
Well,
When you're,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, it is a long day. And then she had to return him at noon the next day, and she said she wasn't going to go, etc. So, anyways.
Yeah, and so she ended up just burying herself, right? Like she was like, oh, she could have been like, okay, now I know, so now I'm going to do this. But she was like, well, he didn't serve, he didn't this, and then the court just like, oh, get out of here. At that point, and I think I told you this too. At that point, does service really matter? I mean, it does matter. I don't want to lessen it, but she was very aware, of what was required from her.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's her downward spiral just continued at this point. Okay, so we're almost done, guys. On 3/24/25, John filed another ex parte RFO claiming Brianna kidnapped Winter, or W, per the 317 orders. Brianna was ordered to not remove W from Dallas County, Texas, and for all visitation to be professionally supervised at dates and times coordinated by the parties based on the monitor's availability. In a minute order specifically directed that a FOAH be prepared, which was the case on the 317 minute order. The minute order is not... What the hell? Look how tiny this is.
This is what I just said.
Can you read that? Look how tiny this is. How is my blind self supposed to read that? Can you read that last page for me?
12 point font. Oh, I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, that's okay. I'll use my phone and just blow it up. I don't know how the heck I'm supposed to read that. Here we go.
But she's basically saying what I just said. That the minute order, I can pull it up too.
I got it right here. Okay. Considered final until the FOH is filed and signed by the court. Southwest Law School. Oh, I don't like to read all that stuff. You guys don't need all those little numbers.
I would say my biggest issue with that form of order is where he got legal custody. And I know people are like, oh, it's not marked, and yeah, it is. That's where he got legal custody. And the court did not say anything about legal custody. So
okay, here we go. It is very unfortunate that such inflammatory language was used in this 324 RFO kidnapping, with full knowledge that an FOAH had not been submitted to the court until the same day. This RFO was filed a full week after the 317 hearing. On 3/27, John filed another DVRO based on the kidnapping allegations, and he repeated his online bullying allegations. This DVRO was also denied in its entirety, like the first one was, except for the order not to AB. W and John's mom were again not listed as protected parties. The order is attached as Exhibit N. I declare under penalty and perjury of law in California These are true and correct based on the best of my knowledge. And that is the total declaration that Bree's attorney submitted yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yes. It was yesterday. So that is it. Thoughts, questions, suggestions, where are we at?
I just wonder why it's a little odd that she keeps filing the mass declarations to me, because it sounds like this is like her trial court memo.
Right.
So I'm like, what?
I don't know. Yeah, she's a different one. And I'm genuinely curious on if Bree's attorney like watched any of the stuff that Bree did, like that day when the police were there for hours and they were mocking the police and, you know, just doing all this stuff with Baby W. I wonder like if she watched any of that stuff, like if she actually really knows what's happening with the whole situation, or is she just taking what Bree says at word? And we know that oftentimes what Bree says, there's not a lot of truth behind what she says.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, she's a rage baiter. So there were a couple questions. One was, is the minute order from today enforceable? And no, I mean not really, but 2K, it's really ordering 2K to comply with things, you know. This is really for, there isn't, well, okay, let me back up. There isn't anything that really needs to be enforced. So if 2K doesn't provide the baby for the visits, he will look very bad for court. He won't do that. So, and really, she's not in any position to even enforce parenting time anyway. So there really isn't much to enforce. So no, not really. And then if she live streams something, well, then the courts just, I mean, it's just, again, it looks really bad for her. So the minute order is valuable. It's important. It gives the parties direction, but is it enforceable? Whereas somebody can take it to a police station and say, hey, I need you to enforce this. No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's a valid order. It has to be followed, but it would have to go through a different process to be enforced, a contempt process. So, and then somebody else said, "What's next?" Like, what's next? Nothing. They wait until August.
Yeah, they have to go through if you guys are just coming in, you guys didn't see the very beginning. So today, what they did is they scheduled for the evidentiary hearing, the trial hearings, and then they set weekly visitation for Bree in Texas, supervised. Everyone still keeps asking. I tell you guys, I wonder how many people would be passed out right now if we start playing the game on time. So even though she said that she has unsupervised visitation and she can go wherever she wants to and whatnot, that is not true. She still has to use supervised visitation through keeping the peace. She has to provide the location, the one location, and the times that she wants 24 hours in advance. She can see him for all 7 days, right? It'll be her time slots for 7 days, or she can see him 2 days. She can see him as many times as she wants to in there. I know her attorney, it's not in the minute order, but the attorney did request for them to be at least 4 to 6 hours in time. Keeping the peace only does visitation between, I think it's 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. or maybe 9 p.m., something like that. Okay, just hold on. Let me get through this first, okay? So we have to get through that, right? So she's going to have visitation during those hours for whatever time she wants. And again, she has to pay for it. It's like $165 an hour or something like that. And she has to pay for those times as well. So that's what happened today. No overnights. They don't do overnight visits. And on top of all the stuff that was put in the order, it also has to be applying. They also have to, what's the word? I'm losing my word. Comply. They have to comply with all of the visitation center's rules as well. So whatever rules the visitation center has, that has to be applied too. So if that means that they don't allow phones for streaming pictures, all that kind of stuff, she's not gonna be able to stream anyways, but then they can't. Even if 2K says, yeah, that's fine with him, and Bree agrees, but the visitation center says no, then it's a no. So that's kind of what they're...
Yeah, and I think also what supervisors don't have availability like all day.
Oh, where'd she go?
Oh, sorry. I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
My battery low when
Oh,
whatever that thing came on. But I don't know where it cut off. But the supervisors don't have availability all those times too. Like it would be great if she could figure out a way to get the baby maybe 4th of July in the evening or something like that so they could do fireworks. But it depends on if the supervisor's available or willing.
right. Yeah, it has
So
to be on when if they're available. She can submit the times. She has to give them 24 hours advance notice, and then they will fill in. They'll fill in where they can. But yeah, she still has to. No one else can come to a supervised visit. You guys. Those are just standard rules. You can't have anyone else around.
I think it's up to them. I don't know. This is a lot of supervised visitation. It's possible that like Bree's mom could come or something. Like there are some supervisor, and I don't know about these, so I don't know. But sometimes there are rules, like after your third visit, that and with the approval of. But I think the court removed 2K's ability to really put restrictions on it. But it's possible her mom could potentially come. But I don't think like random people like.
Right. No, I
These
think
people like Santos isn't going to be able to go on a visit,
no.
with him.
Yeah,
So.
and they do have the order, I believe, that was a while back that, or maybe it was in the October order, where I don't know, one of the orders, there was something put in there where the other party couldn't introduce someone that they were dating for like 6 months or something, some type of rule. I feel like I remember seeing in there somewhere.
Yeah, but those are like there's a lot of stuff in court orders that like don't really matter. That aren't. That's one of them. Nobody has ever, to the dawn of time, been able to enforce that in California.
Yeah,
and but they put it in there.
Yeah, I just can't see a monitoring center just being okay with just with Santos. That's just not going to happen, you guys.
They won't allow that for sure. But like a family, like a true family member,
yeah.
Then I could see that being a possibility. But I could see that after like a couple of good solid visits. I do wonder. Did anybody wait really quick? Did anybody else from this chat join the call? Because it was a remote hearing. Did anybody join?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I'm curious if there was an issue with her not following the rules at the center, because they specifically said that in the order. So I'm curious.
Well, Jen just commented that Keeping Peace does not allow visitors beyond Bree. Nope.
Yeah, I mean,
no family members. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess it's one of those things that I guess that's why they put in there. Not only do you have to follow the rules of the court, but you have to follow the rules of the monitor center. And again, this is the monitoring center that Bree chose. So
Bree's attorney chose.
Right, Bree's attorney chose. Yeah.
I don't know if she even realized. Like, anyway, that's funny.
I don't know.
It was a good choice, though. I think it's a good place. I think it's a good place, and I think that this order emboldens them to be able to control the situation instead of,
right. Yeah, definitely for safety. Okay, I'm gonna let Leah come up really fast.
Do you want me to drop?
No. Oh. No, stand.